of rain as we head into the afternoon. So a very unsettled, wet and windy day here, but otherwise plenty of sunny spells and feeling warm in the sunshine, highs reaching around 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. But it is a change on the weekend. Saturday is going to bring in plenty of clouds. Some outbreaks of rain still quite persistent across western parts of Scotland, but becoming more widespread across England and Wales, and likely seeing more persistent outbreaks across parts of the south into the afternoon. Perhaps a little brighter on Sunday, but still with a risk of showers. But in any sunshine, it should still remain warm. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
OK, so coming up on Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, we're about to get a new political party. Jeremy Corbyn, Zara Sultana, the whole of the Gaza gang. Is that really a good thing for Britain? Is it a nightmare for the Labour Party? Is it a nightmare for us? Are we going to end up with some very, very fruity views there, especially in light of Palestine action being prescribed? Some of the front pages are, of course, leading on the devastating news that Diogo Jota has passed away, the Liverpool forward, and West Treating's launched a plan for a new NHS app. So stay tuned.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Guess who's back?
Hi, how you doing? We're back and we're ready for it all over again.
Yes, it's Jeremy Corbyn, and he couldn't bring himself to say this.
Can we have a discussion?
Can you call them a terror group, Jeremy?
Can we have a discussion?
Can you call them a terror group?
Is it possible to have a rational discussion?
Are you prepared to call Hamas a terror group?
Is it possible?
Yeah, he didn't. So he's setting up a new political party with Zara Sultana. The only problem is no one appears to have told him about it. Meanwhile, here's a live shot of my back garden.
The answer is blowing in the wind.
Yes, Red Ed Miliband has turned up and he wants to put wind turbines in it. And yours. In other news...
Don't vote for me.
Fit to lead the country?
Don't vote for me. Please don't vote for me. Thank you.
Well, in a brand new interview, Nigel Farage has revealed everything from whether he has what it takes to be Prime Minister to who's really to blame for what happened to Lucy Letby. And...
Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide.
Yes! Oasis set list has been revealed. We'll be telling you what their set list is in a moment. On my panel tonight, we have got the former Conservative MP Anna Firth, former Labour Party advisor Matthew Larzer, and what could go wrong? We've got contributor and comedian Lewis Schaefer. Yes. Okay.
Called a contributor, and then suddenly people actually take what I'm saying seriously. The whole world's...
Last week you had a go at me for calling you a comedian. Make your mind up. Right, OK. Now it's time for your headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Patrick, thank you. The top story, suspended Labour MP Zara Sultana has announced she is starting a new party with former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. Sultana, stripped of the Labour whip last year for backing a move to scrap the two-child benefit cap, said she was resigning from the party after 14 years of membership. The MP for Coventry South said the new party would be formed with other independent MPs, campaigners and activists aiming to challenge a, quote, broken Westminster system. Well, last night, Mr Corbyn hinted he may form a new party, having said that there's a thirst for an alternative and that a grouping will come together. In other news, a ban on Palestine action as a terror group is poised to become law after peers backed the government move at Westminster but faces a legal bid to block it. The House of Lords backed prescribing the group under the Terrorism Act 2000 without a vote. A so-called regret motion proposed by a Green Party peer criticising the measure was rejected by 144 votes to 16. The ministerial order, which has already been approved by MPs, will make it a criminal offence punishable by up to 14 years in prison to be a member of the Direct Action Group or to support it. However, it's unclear when the ban will come into force, as the group is mounting a court challenge to try to temporarily block the move, with a hearing scheduled for tomorrow. Sir Keir Starmer has unveiled a 10-year vision to bring care closer to people's homes, saying the future already looks better for the NHS under the Labour Party. The Prime Minister highlighted the recruitment of 1,700 new GPs and thousands of mental health workers, along with millions of extra appointments. In a surprise move, Rachel Reeves arrived alongside the Prime Minister in London this morning, making her first appearance since she was seen crying in the Commons. And Liverpool's heartbroken players have spoken of their pain in tribute to teammate Diogo Jota after he was killed in a car crash at the age of 28. Reds captain Virgil van Dijk said on Instagram he was absolutely devastated and in total disbelief. Former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp said Diogo was not only a fantastic player, but he also was a great friend, a loving and caring husband and father. Police say the accident happened in the early hours of this morning when the Lamborghini the pair were travelling in veered off the road. A Spanish government source said police were investigating the crash as a possible speeding incident. Diogo got married less than 2 weeks ago, leaves behind his wife and 3 young children. He also played for Wolves, Porto and Portugal. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More news soon.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
OK, Welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Let's give you that roundup of Friday's newspaper front pages. We start with the Metro. They go off with Diego Jota, devastating tragedy, born in 1996, sadly killed alongside his brother last night in a car crash when their Lamborghini careered off the road, burst into flames. The Liverpool striker gone far too young. Let's go to the Independent. They say Labour turmoil, crisis. What crisis? I was having a tough day, insists Rachel Reeves. Well, was it a tough day? Was it a deep-seated personal problem? Can you be trusted with the economy? Are you over-promoted and out your depth? And, frankly, not being entirely honest with us about the situation. The Eye, pensions face tax hike to pay for Labour welfare U-turn. This is a story that's just emerging right now, which is that pensioners, the elderly, are going to be made to pay for the welfare mess that Labour's got us into. The Daily Express. Our hearts are broken. Fans shock over death of COP star. Stunned Liverpool fans flock to Anfield. They've been laying floral tribute shirts. There's calls to retire his number. I think it was the number 20. And it came, sadly, just 11 days after Jota married his now wife, and he leaves behind 3 children. We go to the Daily Telegraph. The picture story is Diego Jota and his wife on their wedding day. Yeah, very emotional stuff there. They've got a cluster of other stories here, actually, which I'll work my way through. For me, I think one of the big stories, the big story, and we'll discuss it shortly, is Jeremy Corbyn launching a hard-left political party alongside Zara Sultana, who recently stood up in Parliament and said that we are all Palestine Action, a group that is about to be prescribed as a terrorist organisation. They've got a story on the side, which is Ed Miliband's got a plan to make it easier for people to put wind turbines in their back garden. I suspect if you're watching or listening to this show, it really means that your neighbour will find it easier to put it in their back garden, and that might affect your life. But Ed's OK with that, so great. And the RAF, home to their nuclear fighter jets, is protected by just 5-foot fences, so bingo. Let's go to The Guardian. Hundreds killed as Israel steps up Gaza strikes despite a ceasefire. They've also got Wes Streeting's plan to introduce a brand new NHS app. And Brothers, Brawls and Bravado, yes, Oasis are back tomorrow. This time tomorrow, Oasis will have come off stage at Cardiff. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. Some would say mad for it, but anyway, there we go. The Daily Mail we go for. Now, they've gone for the doctor in your pocket will see you now. It's a brand new app that is being launched that is supposedly going to be able to diagnose you and all sorts of stuff in your pocket. Again, though, with this, are the vulnerable and the elderly not going to be squeezed out of healthcare here? If you're being asked, I mean, there's absolute respect. If someone who's in their late 80s or their 90s is being asked to use an app more on their phones during a time of health crisis, is that not a problem? The Sun, they've led out an entire full front page on Diego Jota, the Liverpool striker. What I will say, of course, is that no one in Liverpool will be reading The Sun. So they could have put anything on there, and that no one in Liverpool is reading The Sun's heartfelt tribute to Diego Jota, are they? Let's go to the Times. NHS app to give patients a doctor in your pocket. More services in local clinics. This is Labour's 10-year plan. They also say that Rachel Reeves is cracking on. Well, yesterday, of course, she was cracking up, so I suppose that makes a nice change. Let's get to my panel. We've got former Labour advisor Matthew Larser, who's shaking his head furiously at me. Shaking his head furiously at my jokes. Former Conservative MP Anna Firth and GB News fan favourite Lewis Schaefer. Let's start with this new... Lewis?
I'm in a bad mood.
OK, why?
Because of what happened last week. I made a joke and it's on my case. OK, all right. Well, let's whiz ourselves along to the news of the day, which is Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn are launching, it seems, a hard-left political party. We have a few clips, I think, that I can show you. I mean, the front page is the Daily Telegraph, but I have a few clips that I can show you. Zara Sultana stood in Parliament yesterday and... said, we are all Palestine Action. Is that the clip we've got? Go on.
So I say this loudly and proudly on Wednesday, the 2nd of July, 2025, we are all Palestine.
And again, for the umpteenth time, the word she says there, which for some reason we've mooted, is action. So she says, we're all Palestine Action. She's setting it up with Jeremy Corbyn, the man who, shall we just remind ourselves, couldn't bring himself to say that Hamas were a terrorist organisation. Have we got this clip of that?
Can we have a discussion?
Can you call them a terror group, Jeremy?
Can we have a discussion?
Can you call them a terror group?
Is it possible to have a rational discussion?
Are you
with
prepared to call Hamas a terror group?
Is it possible to have a rational discussion with you? Is it possible? Come on, answer that question.
You can't, can you?
Answer it.
No, it's my show. You answer my question.
Well,
are Hamas a terror group?
Listen, can I...
Are they a terror group?
Piers, can I speak?
Answer the question.
Can I speak?
Are they a terror group?
Piers.
No, then, no.
If you let me speak...
Are they a terror group?
If you'll let me speak, I'll say something.
Go on, then.
A ceasefire means both sides...
You said that.
How bad is it, Anna, that the woman who thinks that we are all Palestine Action and the bloke who can't say that Hamas are terrorists have decided to join and form a political party?
I think this is absolutely extraordinary. And, you know, it just goes to show just how completely out of touch she and... Or Jeremy Corbyn's always been out of touch. But Parliament has just voted to make Palestine Action a prescribed terrorist group. And now there she is, standing up in Parliament, using parliamentary privilege to say we are all Palestine Action. No, we are not. And frankly, if she was saying that outside Parliament and the law had gone through, that would be an illegal criminal act. And that's the party she wants to set up.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not quite yet, to be fair, because he's got to go through the laws, but I take your point if we fast forward a bit. But something quite funny here, I'm gonna read this out to you. So Zara Sultana released a statement which said, Jeremy and I will co-lead the founding of a new party with other independent MPs, campaigners and activists across the country. She says, a year ago, I was suspended by the Labour Party for voting to abolish the two-child benefit cap. She said she'd do it again. I voted against the scrapping of winter fuel payments. I'd do it again. Now the government wants to make disabled people suffer. They just can't decide how much. She goes on to say a few things, but the killer line at the end, if you'll excuse the pun, is socialism or barbarism. That's the choice at the next election. So do you not think that she's going to take a few MPs with her? John McDonnell going to jump over? Richard Bergen? Any of the others?
I think she might take a few MPs with her, but I don't think she'll take too much of the public with her. What's fascinating is that already the wheels are coming off, as Jeremy Corbyn apparently has been denying that he's actually agreed to this. As apparently negotiations were still going on and he hadn't signed on the dotted line. I mean, what you've got to remember is the jokes about the factions on the hard left, you know, the People's Front of Judea and the Judean People's Front, or whatever the line was from Monty Python. So, yeah. I mean, it seems that they've started the faction fighting early, i.e. on day one.
Lewis, how bad for Britain is it that we're going to have, as I call them, the Gaza gang, but it's going to be a formal political party?
Well, just keep in mind that I'm a comedian, I'm not a commentator. So, you know, you can't take what I say completely. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is normally right. But I'm a comedian. I'm a bit of a comment. Anyway, here is the point. The point is that Britain is totally I don't know. Can I say that? You can't say that word.
No.
It's completely destroyed. But this is why. Look at these two people right here. They think they're like opposites, but they're like right in bed together.
Oh no, we disagree.
Jeremy Corbyn. Yes, Jeremy Corbyn is doing the absolute right thing. Let's say he's doing it. We don't even know if he's doing it. He's doing the right thing because he's basically the people in this country who do not have a political party are the Muslims, and they want their own political party, and they actually think Palestine and the way Muslims are treated in this country deserves their own party. So good for him.
So you think that Jeremy Corbyn is doing the right thing by setting up? I mean, he would. I mean, I imagine he would argue that this is not a party for Muslims, right? This is a party that I suppose would also engage with several issues that I dare say a large chunk of the British Muslim population agrees with, like for example the on Palestine, right? So my concern with this, Anna, is that this might lead to A, more sectarianism, and B, could lead to, well, frankly, a bit more kind of extremism.
Yeah, I mean, well, it could do if they get in again, of course. I mean, that's what we had at the last, the election before last, when we had George Galloway come in a by-election. That was exactly.
Yeah, but parties. This is what's so ridiculous. The parties are supposed to be sectarian. It's a sect. It's a group of people. You're acting like, oh, it's going to be more sectarian. Of course it is. They want their own party. They want a party that speaks for Muslims in this country. That's anti-Israel. I'm assuming.
assuming, that's maybe ultra left. So let them have their party and let's see who votes for them. It's like in America with AOC and those people. You know, let them have their own party and see how many votes that they get.
I mean, Matthew, you said that you don't think that it's going to do too much damage electorally for Labour. I would disagree. I mean, West Streeting's got a majority of about 150, hasn't he? Leanne Mohammed is the candidate, the independent candidate that stood against them. She will, I would have thought, join whatever party this is. So I think she'll win that seat in the next election. And if you play that around throughout the country, Jonathan Ashford lost his seat in the last election. All of these things, I think there's a huge amount of places in Birmingham, in Bradford, parts of Greater Manchester, potentially even parts of Liverpool, parts of Wolverhampton. I mean, I could go on here where I can see a candidate standing for a Jeremy Corbyn-run party would win.
I think partly depends what's happening with Israel-Palestine by the time of the next election. But the one thing that Labour strategists will be pleased about is they're worried about the Greens. Remember, we don't talk about the Greens very much, but they're now actually at sort of 12, 13, 14% in the polls. What polling shows that if there was a new Corbyn et al. Party, that takes quite a big chunk off of the Greens, which means that the left vote splits, which means that Labour MPs in more left liberal urban seats will be a little bit relieved by that. Unless they've got majority Muslim population.
The fact is that the Labour Party is like the Tory Party. They're dead. They're absolutely dead. They don't stand for the things that the people of this country believe in, especially the Tories. And, you know, you're so lovely. I love you so much, and the people can tell how much I love you.
You don't tell me how much you love me.
Well, that's our secret. That's our secret. I don't want to make Patrick jealous. But the point I am making here is the most important point. The point is, Labour is dead. They don't even know that they're dead because they won a great big election last time. The Tories are dead. They're like the new Liberal Democratic Party from 1921.
I think Labour know that they're dead. Lewis.
Yes.
Look what's happened. They've got a majority, working majority, 165, and this week they nearly got defeated.
Yes, and your party is alive? No.
But there is a case to be said that Jeremy Corbyn, who's one of the major criticisms of him, has consistently been on the side of Britain's enemies, right? Whether it is to do with having interesting views about Hezbollah. They could call this party Jezbollah, couldn't they? Hezbollah, whether it's Hamas, whether it's Palestine Action, whatever it is, all right? So if you then have an entire political movement dedicated to that kind of ideology, is this not the natural consequence of what happens when you have kind of mass immigration into Britain, people that are not necessarily aligned to British ways of life?
Yeah, those people hate. There's so many people who hate.
Fronted by a stuffy old dude that our current Prime Minister has to get elected twice.
No, this is democracy, but it's democracy in a country that is becoming more and more fragmented, and that is the problem.
And they would obviously say that this is democracy, and indeed it is. And look, hey, there's nothing against starting a party and people voting for it. My concern is that how we ended up in a situation where people would vote for it. But anyway,
and people will vote because the number of Muslims in the country are going up and up. The number of people who are radical leftists, radical globalists, are going up and up. So, and right now they're starting at a small part. But I don't know how you could be. I'm not even in favour of it, but I think it's brilliant.
OK. Well, look, what we were going to do is we were going to squeeze two stories into this section, but I do think that is one of the big stories of the day, and it will be the big story tomorrow.
Was I too excited?
No, you're absolutely fine, mate. You're absolutely fine. I enjoy it. Be more excited. So don't swear, though. But anyway, so...
I swear. I didn't swear.
The Daily Telegraph have also got another story on their front page, which is Ed Miliband wants to turn up in your back garden, I'm paraphrasing here, and put a massive, great big wind farm in there. He's going to make it easier for people to have wind farms in their back garden. We're out of time in this segment, so we're going to talk about it when we come back. But before I do go to the break, I would like to say, in light of this story, I wonder if we could go live now to my back garden. Can we? Where Ed Miliband is, I believe, in my back garden. Come on, Ed, where are you?
So my friend is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
I'll set the dog.
Can I say you've got a very big house if that's your back garden, Patrick?
It's huge, mate. Absolutely huge. Well, you know me. Anyway, right, OK, stay tuned.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
For working class families, what are the fundamentals that they are looking for? They're looking for good housing, they're looking for good schools, they're looking for good jobs that give them a fair day's wage for a fair day's graft, they're looking for a strong NHS, and they're looking for safe communities to live in. When you have all of those foundations in place, then it means that children, young people, they can flourish, they can do well alongside their parents and their grandparents. And I think if you look at what this Labour government has done, we're 10 months into a 5-year programme here, by the way, but in the first 10 months of this new Labour government, they have put major policy reforms in place across all 5 of those key foundations for working class families. And so I'm confident that we're starting to see some of it here in Basildon, where Basildon is starting to get better again. I'm confident that by the end of this Parliament, because of what the government is doing now, we will start to see some positive changes for working class families.
OK, Christo, what do you make of it?
I think that Bridget Phillipson makes a very fair point when she says that white working class families and those peoples are being left behind. But unfortunately, her actions as Education Secretary don't align with what I believe are these completely hollow words. So, for instance, we've seen white working class boys particularly, but now girls, falling behind in education for absolutely years. So why Bridget Phillipson would then bring in a policy that is seeing, by the latest figures, 13,000 private school pupils entering the state school system, why on earth she would bring in that kind of policy, whilst then having the audacity to say that she's worried about white working class pupils not doing so well, is beyond me.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
OK, loads in Friday's front pages. Just to tell you about a couple of them, we've got that hard left party with Corbyn and Zara Sultana. West Streeting's launching a brand new NHS app as well. But this is the one we're going to zone in on now. It's on the front of the Daily Telegraph, and Ed Miliband is planning for a wind farm revolution in people's back gardens. Currently, the law is that if you want a wind farm, or just a wind turbine, actually, you have to have a detached property. It looks as though we're going to change that, and we're going to end up with Ed Miliband's wind farms anywhere, or even on a rooftop. So rooftops, back gardens. Anna, do you think this is a good idea?
I think this is absolutely bonkers. This is mad red Ed gone bananas. Only Ed Miliband could decide that, because only 23% of UK homes are detached and they can put turbines where they like. We therefore must do something about the 55% of semi-detached homes that haven't got turbines. Nobody wants turbines in their garden. We are going to be subsidising them. They're not going to be generating any electricity. It's going to be bad for the wildlife.
Yeah.
It's a mad idea. It shouldn't even be, it shouldn't be anywhere. It's a consultation, but hopefully it'll be completely thrown out.
Well, here we go. The consultation only allows turbines up to a maximum height of 11.1 metres, but apparently Ed Miliband wants to make them 15 metres high.
And that's for the people who are in flats who can't put them in their garden. They can have them on the roof.
Shove a 15-metre wind turbine on the roof, Lewis.
Well, I'm against it. I mean, oil is. Should I be against it, or am I going to get letters saying, "Oh, this guy's against wind"? We're the wind turbine community. The fact is, everybody knows it's a scam. Climate change is a scam.
No, they don't, Lewis. It's real and present.
Look at this guy. Would you trust a guy who looks like Matthew? Would you trust him? Look at him with the glasses and the mustache. It's like the 1970s porn movie. The guy's in 19s. I'm more of a modern porn guy.
Lewis, I'm going to have to interject here to defend him.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Patrick.
I don't normally defend.
My last show.
Did you know, Lewis? Did you know even the BBC?
On trend.
Even the BBC has said that climate change is actually a thing.
The BBC! Oh, my God. Sorry, I changed my mind. They're amazing. They are amazing, the BBC. They're trying to put us out of business at GB News. And you actually... I mean, you're kidding,
I'm joking,
right? Oh, you were
Lewis.
joking. Oh, I'm sorry.
joking.
I'm sorry.
So do we think, then, Matthew,
yeah, we don't.
Ed Miliband's going to win votes or not from people who... Yeah, you're there at home, you've got a back garden, it's a small back garden, dare I say, you know, it's on a road of terraced houses like Coronation Street.
Yeah.
And then next door to you, you know, Paul puts a 15-metre wind turbine up and there's nothing you can say about that.
Look, I think what it needs to be, needs to be common sense, OK? Which is not everybody's going to be forced to have a wind turbine, and it's not about saying your neighbour can put a wind turbine up without you having a say-so. What it's just saying is a blanket ban on people who don't even attach
No, Matthew, I genuinely don't think that's right, because it's saying that it should be permitted development. So therefore, you can do it if you want to. You can have one on your roof. You can have one in your garden. You can.
Have you not got one in your garden, Anna? I bet you it's a big garden.
I have not got one in my garden. I have not got a wind turbine. I don't want a wind turbine.
No. We need energy security.
It's bad for the wildlife.
You know what I blame? I blame Ed Miliband's a Jew. And this is like sorry, we allowed to say that.
I don't. Sorry, I actually missed what you said. Genuinely, I
said
no. I was almost talking in my ear.
I think Lewis is thinking you can do that joke because you're a member of the same community. Is that correct?
Because I'm an anti-Semite.
Right. Okay.
That's why I can make that joke. No, I was making a joke. I was just saying how Ed Miliband is ruining this world.
Okay.
The only way he knows how to ruin the world.
Okay.
There's no terrorism.
For what it's worth, Lewis Schaefer is indeed a member of said community, so I don't know whether or not that makes it better or worse for anyone. But there we go. Apologies if anyone was offended by that.
I didn't mean to call. I wasn't saying he was.
Let's move on to the iPad. It's fine. We'll move on.
I'm doing so badly. It's such a bad show.
Now,
for me,
pensions face tax hike to pay for Labour welfare U-turn. So this is, again, pensioners potentially getting a kicking. I mean, it went so well for Labour last time, Anna, didn't it? Because last time they decided that they were going to allow people to freeze to death in their own homes, essentially. And now it looks as though, in order to make up for the lack of savings from the welfare disaster, instead, they're going to have to try to clobber pensioners again.
Yeah, I mean, Rachel Reeves has caused... I mean, it's not, to be fair to Rachel Reeves, I mean, her budget was a disaster. She's been a disastrous Chancellor. You know, she's had to U-turn on everything that she did, from starting with the fiction of the 22 billion black hole.
Absolutely real black hole, Anna.
Which the OBR was unable to find. And £45 billion of tax rises in an economy that she wants to grow. That is like saying to someone...
to invest in the NHS, so you don't want the 29 billion in the NHS.
Faster, and we're going to put rocks in your ruts.
So you want less money in the NHS?
Exactly what she's...
Less money for defence?
No.
So where's the money coming from?
If she's going to grow the economy, she is going to have to reduce taxes on business.
And so what are you going to cut, Anna? What would you like to cut? Which hospitals do you want to close? Which schools do you want to close?
So the Tories, as you know well, Matthew, had a
We can just about remember them in power.
Had a plan to take £12 billion off the welfare bill. That would have been a start. Instead, what she has done...
Didn't do it. Might have had a plan. She had 15 years, the welfare bill went up.
Instead, what she has done is go for £5 billion, which she hasn't achieved, off the backs of the poorest and the most disabled.
When the Tories left office, we had the
massive...
extra PIP claims, the huge number of people of working age and young people who went off compared to other countries in the world, all under the Tories. The Tories did nothing. They may have come into the election with a plan. You presided over a ballooning welfare bill.
Yes, I don't...
You sat there and voted for it.
I don't disagree. I doubt that, because as we've been over many, many times, I only got in 2022.
Yes, and you were there while the welfare bill went up.
Under the Tories, we took £5 billion out of the welfare bill every year, and we had a plan to take out £12 billion. But you asked me what we would have done. We would...
No, I didn't ask what you've done, because it's irrelevant. It's complete fiction, because nobody cares what the Tories would or wouldn't do, because they're dead.
I'm going to bring Lewis in here.
Just like Labour.
Hardly. We're in government now.
All right, guys, OK.
And drowning and floundering every single week.
OK, all right. Lewis, last time that Labour tried to do something involving the pensioners, it backfired spectacularly. The winter fuel payment, terrible. I mean, if pensioners again are made to face some kind of sacrifices, it says here pensions tax relief and salary sacrifice schemes could be under threat now. I mean, that's kind of crippling people, is it not?
I mean, I don't have an opinion.
Oh, Lewis, this is the first time ever. Have you run out of opinions?
No, I mean, the fact is that the left, they hate British people. And most of old people are what they would call British people. It's pure racism.
I can let you into a secret. I'm on the left. I don't hate British people.
Yeah, you do. Of course you do, because you say,
no, I don't.
Let's stop giving older people money.
There's an argument here, isn't there, that despite the fact
That's not even what the story's about, Lewis.
Hang on a minute, because it's interesting, because if they decide to go for pensions, tax relief and salary sacrifice schemes, I believe that's actually people who could even be, say, like, well, my age now, anyone's age now, who are working, who are putting things aside for when they are one day a pensioner.
It's all speculation.
So yeah, well, it says all speculation. Firstly, they went for actual pensioners with the winter fuel payment. Now they're going for people who one day are going to be pensioners.
Well, that's everybody if they live long.
Exactly. So this is the thing. So it's like, do you not want us to have a retirement? Do they want no one to have a retirement?
They want us, here is the fact. I hate to say it because it sounds like I'm being cruel. They want us dead. That's what the whole COVID thing is. They want us dead. That's what the whole climate change scam is. They want us dead. Right. They want... I don't want to say...
No, Lewis, the left does not want people to die.
The left hate Britain. They're not patriotic towards Britain.
There's lots to come back to there, isn't there?
Yeah, come back to it. And I'll tell you something. He's asking, well, what is Ofcom rules? The fact is which hospitals should we close? We should close all of the hospitals because they're unfit for helping people, hospitals. And schools, which schools should we close? Close every single school. We should not have people like I'm so indignant right now. It's too much.
Yeah,
people like Matthew teaching our children about gay lifestyles.
I'm really
about what lifestyle?
Are you gay?
I am, Lewis.
Oh, there you go. So I was right. That was right.
I am actually pleased to tell you that Matthew is not a teacher, as far as
I'm not a teacher, and I have no interest in being a teacher.
Guys, right, look, sorry, can we actually just stop here? Because there's a bit of fun, and then sometimes it goes a bit too far. I literally have to do quite a lot of housekeeping now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rattle a series of things off, and I'm going to appreciate it if no one interrupts me for the sake of us all working again at some point in the future. So I think I now have to say, the Labour don't want people dead. Go to hospital if you are ill. Climate change is not necessarily a total on. What else?
Yeah.
Don't repeat.
Who says that?
You.
Oh, sorry.
There was something else. Right, whatever you heard, either way there, if you were offended by it, then I'm very sorry. OK, good. Coming up.
Why do you have to say that? What kind of country do you live in where you're forced to speak lies? We're forced to speak lies on this thing. People come up to me and they say, don't talk about this because there's some kind of restraining order or whatever. We're forced to speak lies. I said it. If you don't believe me,
OK. I think they've turned your mic off. OK, so a suspected Albanian murderer we can't deport. Plus, should Eid be a public holiday? Can't wait to discuss that next. Stay tuned.
What is Eid?
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. A rain warning is in force across western Scotland from tomorrow, but elsewhere it should be mostly dry and bright. That's before an unsettled start to the weekend. And the reason for this split in the weather, well, it's all thanks to high pressure, largely dominating central and southern parts of the UK, but notice to the north, more frontal systems moving through here. So that's going to bring us some showery outbreaks as we head through into this evening. And as we head towards dawn, more persistent outbreaks of rain, particularly across western and northern parts of Scotland. This likely turning quite heavy and blustery at times, but elsewhere mostly dry, and it should be fairly clear, particularly across the south. Overnight lows reaching around 11 to 12 degrees Celsius. So to start off the day across Scotland, it is going to be wet and it is going to be unsettled, particularly across western areas where we're expecting some quite persistent, heavy outbreaks of rain, and it's likely to turn blustery here at times too. So do take care if you are travelling around, and it should be fairly similar across western parts of Northern Ireland, cloudy with further outbreaks of rain moving through. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should remain dry and bright through much of the day, perhaps some fair weather cloud bubbling up into the afternoon, but otherwise light winds and plenty of sunny spells. But still across Northern Ireland, parts of Scotland, and then later on into northern parts of England, Cumbria, for example, could start to pick up some outbreaks of rain as we head into the afternoon. So a very unsettled, wet and windy day here, but otherwise plenty of sunny spells and feeling warm in the sunshine, highs reaching around 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. But it is a change on the weekend. Saturday is going to bring in plenty of clouds. Some outbreaks of rain still quite persistent across western parts of Scotland, but becoming more widespread across England and Wales, and likely seeing more persistent outbreaks across parts of the south into the afternoon. Perhaps a little brighter on Sunday, but still with a risk of showers. But in any sunshine, it should still remain warm. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Let's remind ourselves, shall we, of Friday's newspaper front pages. The Metro, devastating tragedy. Diogo Jota, sadly the Liverpool striker and winger, has passed away in a car crash, leaves behind 3 children. Really devastating for Liverpool and the football world, really. The next newspaper that we're going to go for is The Independent. Crisis, what crisis? I was having a tough day, insists Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor. Well, there's a hug of her and Keir Starmer on the front. Do we buy that? I'm not sure. Maybe we do. The next paper we're doing is the Daily Express. Our hearts are broken. Fans in shock over the death of Diogo Jota. I'll just do a couple more. We've got The Guardian. They go for deaths in Gaza on the front page. And just to round us off here, the Daily Mail, they've decided to go for essentially Wes Streeting and Labour's 10-year plan to fix the NHS and to introduce an app as well. So there we go. Not entirely. I wonder how that's going to work. Let's just do that. Stick on the Daily Mail actually for that. I could bring that paper up. So this is Labour's 10-year plan for the NHS, and they want a lot of it, I believe, to be on an app. Matthew, could you explain a little bit about what we think is happening with Labour's 10-year plan for the NHS?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the key thing about the 10-year plan is to try and make sure the NHS is not just a national health service, but is a neighbourhood health service. So it's bringing treatment closer to home, easier to access, taking pressure off hospitals, which isn't always the right place for people, and making sure that hospitals have more capacity for when you need it. So it's things like unleashing the power of local pharmacies, so that your pharmacy, if you've got a long-term health condition, is keeping an eye on you and making sure that you're following your medication, etc. So it's really it's bringing together all the bits of the NHS. The app, it will be at the centre of it, but it isn't the whole story.
OK. Do we buy this, though, Anna? Just roughly speaking, it's about £29 billion more funding for the NHS, just in terms of funding. So the Burj Khalifa, is it the world's tallest building? Costs 3 days' worth of NHS funding. So we now spend more money on the NHS than Portugal's entire GDP. So it's pretty bleak.
It's completely unsustainable, the NHS budget, and we have got to get to a point where people are starting to take more care of their own health.
That's in it. That's prevention.
But on this thing, I mean, what always interests me is when government ministers announce 10-year plans, because they know they're not going to be in office. You know, this government isn't going to be in office in 10 years to have to face the public when this app completely crashes. Because
I think they're hoping the app will be there before the 10 years is up. I mean, indeed, before the year is up.
Well, it jolly well ought to be. But the governments have a terrible record of doing these technical things, particularly with the NHS. Remember the NHS computer that was 20
That's true, but the NHS app as it exists does actually work.
I mean, I'm not against apps. I mean, you know, I've got loads of apps on my phone. I mean, we're all app crazy, but this is not really where it's at.
I wonder what apps
Lewis uses. We want to be able to see our GP. We want to be able to go into a hospital and not be in the car park. Those are the important things.
Yeah, I mean, so the idea that maybe people should just be taking a bit more care of their health. Lewis, you've transformed yourself, because previously you...
I was fat and ugly.
There you go.
Like most of the people who are watching right now. No, they know they're fat and ugly.
You've done everybody today, Lewis.
Really
every group imaginable you criticised.
On a mission tonight, aren't you?
Kamikaze.
No, because I used to be fat and ugly. I had type 2 diabetes. And the fact is that it just shows what I don't want to say he's an idiot, but most people are idiots because we actually have faith in the NHS, not just the NHS. And like in America, they have faith in mainstream medicine, and they're all a bunch of liars.
How did you lose your weight, Lewis?
I lost my weight the old-fashioned way.
Here.
Eating less and exercising more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not even exercising.
Not with jabs, Lewis. Not with jabs.
But the point is, we don't need pills, and that's what the NHS is.
I think pills have a place.
What?
I think quite a lot of pills are pretty effective.
No, I don't think they are. I think I've tried to stop.
I think we should remind people that if they have a serious health condition, they should continue taking their medication.
Let me just go into bat here for Lewis Schaefer, because I do think there is a serious case to say that the NHS, Big Pharma, does want to make a huge amount of money.
Big medicine.
Yeah. And therefore, I think at times I think sometimes people might be over-medicated. That's not to say you should stop taking whatever medication you're on. Yeah. I think sometimes people may be over-medicated. Let's just go into this, because this is in tomorrow's Sun, so people won't have seen or heard this yet. It's Nigel Farage, and he's been given what I'm reliably informed is a bombshell interview. I can't help but feel like sometimes the word bombshell is slightly overused, but anyway, bombshell interview to the paper's new political editor, Jack Elsom. And he's hinted that he is to be elected as Prime Minister. He won't change his drinking habits and would probably make some big decisions half-cut, just like Winston Churchill, who lunched every day during the war and used it for purpose. The Reform UK leader also seemed to suggest that Lucy Letby could be innocent, saying that she is, quote, a convenient scapegoat. So there we go. So this is part of Nigel Farage's interview. It's on the inside of The Sun. Do you think people will like that, Anna? The idea that you've got a bloke there who likes a long lunch, a couple of glasses of plonk at lunch and goes on and carries out and runs the country? I don't think most people care about that. Do you? Or maybe you do care.
I think we're living in a very different age. I mean, I think that if Churchill was around today and was as honest as he was then about the black dog and about the drinking, I wonder whether he would be as popular. Clearly, he was a great wartime leader, not taking that away from him at all. Yep. But I think all modern leaders seem to want to define themselves by reference to a leader in the past. They should be their own person.
Let's have a look at our spread if we can again in The Sun. Sorry, I was just trying to get that because I think it's a great picture of it.
I mean, to be fair, Kemi was always talking about Churchill, isn't she? She's talked about him recently. No, she is. Come on, you can't deny that.
No, Boris was talking about Churchill.
When he wrote a book, he wrote a book. Absolutely.
Churchill. I think Kemi's more talking about Mrs. Thatcher.
OK, forgive me, but leaders in the past. What was the question?
Do you think that people will mind this spread by Nigel Farage in The Sun, which apparently, obviously, I've not had time to read the whole thing of it. I'm finding out about it now, but it apparently says that he's admitted that he'll just not change his drinking habits. He's going to get half cut at lunch and maybe.
Do you know what? They're not going to mind because the people who support Nigel Farage support Nigel Farage's position, and that's what we need. I'm not saying he's the greatest guy in the world, but it's like with Donald Trump. He's 78 years old. Yeah, we prefer him to be.
I think what people are going to be more concerned about are things like he sort of jumps on these sort of slightly conspiracy bandwagons like the Lucy Letby question, but also the key thing for reform is it can't just be the Nigel show. Nigel, whether he's had a gin and tonic at lunchtime or not, can't be the entire cabinet. He can't be 22 people.
Apparently, there's another quote in there, and actually, I can vouch for this. So Nigel has said in there that people come up to him in public in supermarkets and say things like, "You're the last hope. You need to get. If you don't get elected, the country's screwed." Now, I can vouch for this because a huge number of people come up to me who watch the show and etc. And they obviously say they want to vote for me. What they say is that they feel as though there is one chance left to save Britain. That's the general sentiment, that there is one election left to save Britain. So I can buy the fact that they're coming up to him and saying that. But anyway...
and a lot of people disagree, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fair enough. But anyway, here you go. Coming up.
Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide.
Well, I hope you're going to Oasis. I am. Thank you very much to a lady called Jules who watches this show and agreed to give me a ticket after I shamelessly pleaded for one down the camera. So there we go, presenter privilege. Anyway, they have revealed their set list. So I'm going to tell you what the set list for Oasis is going to be at their first gig tomorrow night. Stay tuned.
Is this going to make us...
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
High pressure across southern Europe keeps things mostly dry and sunny, staying unusually hot in Italy, breezy in the Greek islands, although nothing particularly unusual about this at this time of year. There are some thunderstorms through northern parts of Italy into Slovenia and Croatia, 1 or 2 inland across Italy as the heat builds because it is again unusually hot. Breezy through the Canaries and warmer than average here. The temperatures do drop off across Italy over the next few days.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. And my panel's still here.
We've not walked out yet.
No. It's time for the Oasis set list.
Where were you while we were getting high? Someday you will find me.
Oasis are back after 15 years. Their 23-song set list appears to have been revealed ahead of their reunion tour, which starts on Friday in Cardiff. So shall I just rattle through it? Yeah. The band will open with Acquiesce, roll through classics like Morning Glory, Supersonic, Slide Away. Fans can expect favourites Half the World Away, Live Forever. If you're watching us on telly or online, that is apparently the full set list, so there we go. The night will end with a bit of Don't Look Back in Anger, Wonderwall and Champagne Supernova. I mean, I cannot wait for this. Nearly 500,000 tickets have sold for the global tour. Nearly 1 million tickets are sold for the global tour, which will span Europe, Asia and America, although I do suspect, given how well they've got on in the past, it might not get that much past Milton Keynes.
Are you allowed to do this? Just give everybody FOMO. You know, your panellists, everybody.
Where are you seeing them, Patrick? Hayden Park?
I'm seeing them at Wembley.
At Wembley?
Yeah. I didn't get tickets in the first round. I didn't get tickets, and then what
none of us have tickets, except you, actually, Patrick, I think. You're the only one who's got tickets, and you're the only one.
You know who Oasis are?
I've not got free tickets. I am paying for the tickets.
Yeah, it's a band, right?
It's a popular beat combo, yeah.
Are you a fan of Oasis, Lewis?
Actually, I am. Actually ran into Noel. I love him. I love him. And I love him, and I think Noel's brilliant. He basically refused to recreate the band to hold out for the big money, so it's got, you know...
Well, and apparently because his now ex-wife didn't want him to, but now she's...
I think if any viewers want to take the panellists to Oasis, we'll be up for it, won't we?
Yeah,
we'll
there you go.
Yeah, we will be, and let me tell you something, Anna, even if we don't get tickets, maybe we can go maybe somewhere.
Good. Nice. Well, it's the biggest reunion, of any band pretty much ever. So there we are. Yeah, but I cannot wait. This time tomorrow...
Labour chaps, of course.
This time tomorrow, yeah. This time tomorrow we will know how it's been. I hope Liam's voice can hold up. So fingers crossed anyway. If you are going, enjoy it. Shall I just finish by whizzing through the front pages, reminding everybody what those front pages are for Friday. We've got the Daily Express going with Our Hearts Are Broken. Fans in shock over the death of cop stars Diogo Jota and his brother sadly killed. I mean, it's devastating, that story, really. Obviously gone far too young. That kind of goes without saying. But it's also 2 weeks after his wedding. He's got 3 kids left behind. He's just come off what may be the best career of his or best year of his career, I should say. So I was just awful, really. The Guardian next, they've decided to go off on the amount of deaths in Gaza as one of their stories. The Daily Mail, they've gone for the health story, which is that there's a 10-year plan for the NHS. Is going to involve an app. Some people might be quite sceptical of this, especially considering how often we seem to get hacked at the moment. The Sun, they've also got Diogo Jota on the front page there. 1996 to 2025, tributes are pouring in for the cop hero. He had just wed before the horror crash. The Times, they have got, again, the NHS story, haven't they, which is this 10-year plan for the NHS. The story at the top is I'm cracking on, says Reeves, as she paves the way for tax rises. And crying at work, question mark. Yes, we've all done it, Rachel. There was a discussion today, wasn't there, whether or not it's ever OK to cry at work. Is it ever OK to cry at work, do you think?
Yeah, I think in certain circumstances it is. I might be going and crying in the toilets after tonight's show.
Oh, good.
Not if you're the Chancellor of the Exchequer and you're in public.
It's a girl. She's a girl. Girls cry more than guys. And I'm a guy, and I cry. I've cried 5 times on my podcast, my live stream, Lewis Schaefer Uncooked.
Have you cried 5 times?
5 times.
Yes.
5 times. Like,
what made you cry, Lewis? What set you off?
Lots of things make me cry. The idea that my career is so horrible because I just open my mouth and I just start chatting. You know what I mean? You want more. She wanted more. She didn't expect to be bullied by Starmer.
Well,
I don't think she was bullied by Starmer. Yeah. I don't think that the crying is a women's thing.
Well, she's certainly not been treated that well by him. I mean, he didn't even turn around. Anyway, let's go to the Daily Telegraph. Corbyn's hard left challenge to Starmer. I suspect that this is going to be doing a lot of airwaves minutes tomorrow. The idea that a hard left pro-Gaza party could form and mobilise and actually be in... and it
won't be filmed. It won't be filled with horrible Green Party people.
Okay.
You know, maybe they support Palestine, but they're like, they don't want to... You know, they're green.
Fair enough. Well, there we go. And that'll do us for today. Thank you very, very much, everybody. Thank you to my wonderful panel. Thank you to you at home. I will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Take care.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. A rain warning is in force across western Scotland from tomorrow, but elsewhere it should be mostly dry and bright. That's before an unsettled start to the weekend. And the reason for this split in the weather, well, it's all thanks to high pressure largely dominating central and southern parts of the UK, but notice to the north, more frontal systems moving through here. So that's going to bring us some showery outbreaks as we head through into this evening. And as we head towards dawn, more persistent outbreaks of rain, particularly across western and northern parts of Scotland. This likely turning quite heavy and blustery at times, but elsewhere mostly dry, and it should be fairly clear, particularly across the south. Overnight lows reaching around 11 to 12 degrees Celsius. So to start off the day across Scotland, it is going to be wet and it is going to be unsettled, particularly across western areas where we're expecting some quite persistent heavy outbreaks of rain, and it's likely to turn blustery here at times too. So do take care if you are travelling around, and it should be fairly similar across western parts of Northern Ireland, cloudy with further outbreaks of rain moving through. But